Okay. I know what you're thinking. Kestrel Raptorial, have you lost your forest ration mind? You've taken way too many picks on the head from the terror birds. Unicorns never existed. Well, hear me out, because in a way, it depends on what you define a unicorn as. And by the end of this video, it may not seem so far-fetched. Okay. So what exactly is a unicorn? Well, it's commonly depicted as a silvery white horse with a single horn on its forehead. Although unicorns can be, and are, depicted in other colors as well, and often with light manes, sometimes with goat-like beards. There are multiple mythologies. We're not going to go through them all. They're similar enough to draw some generalizations as to what the creature is. If you think about it, many animals have horns on their heads. And antlers too. Antlers have the same functions as horns, though a little bit more for display and mating contests rather than defense. But the level of difference there is minimal. Antlers are often shed by the animal once a year and then grow back, while horns are usually never shed. However, antlers always grow in pairs, while horns can be singular. So, although a horse with a single antler could be called a unicorn just as much as one with a horn, this would probably never occur in nature. A horse with a pair of horns would likely be called a bicorn, and I've even seen at least one artwork depiction of a tricorn, but we're getting beside the point. A horse or horse-like creature evolving a horn, or having evolved a horn, isn't actually all that implausible. They have little else apart from their speed and numbers in a herd to defend against predators with, so why not? It's not much of a stretch. And there is even a close relative of horses alive today that has a horn. Ever hear of a rhinoceros? Horses, tapirs, and rhinoceroses are all living members of the order Perissodactyla, the odd-toed ungulates. They shared a common ancestor around 56 million years ago, the very beginning of the age of mammals. This is back when the very first terror birds were rising to power, and the early rhinos were much smaller and very horse-like at this time. Horse ancestors themselves were still very, very small, and were hunted by diatryma. So rhinoceroses have a very similar body shape to horses. They're just quite a bit bulkier, and unless you happen to be a Dungeons & Dragons character, it's probably a really bad idea to try and ride one. Having said that, there was a prehistoric rhinoceros species that humans encountered that was, for its size, considerably slender, horse-like, and had a very unicorn-like horn that may have actually been the original inspiration for unicorn sightings and legends. It was a creature called Elasmotherium, a group of, as of now, 3 recognized fossil species, the last ones, dying out around 29,000 years ago. Quite a long time before recorded written history, but well within the age of modern humans, who are believed to have first appeared around 200,000 years ago, and also well within the range of possible human oral history and legends. Elasmotherium lived from about 2.6 million years ago to around 29,000 years ago in the grasslands all over Eurasia. During this time, the Earth began to go through and, well, went through throughout this time its recent cycle of ice ages, glacial maximums and minimums. There were quite a few of them. And the environments would have cycled between cold and warm, lush and arid, many times over. Its three species were all herbivorous, grazers much like modern horses and rhinos, and its long legs would have given it a very horse-like gait. Despite the larger species among Elasmotherium being comparable in size to elephants and mammoths, they would have been considerably faster than those, perhaps even than modern rhinoceroses. Elasmotherium was not the same creature as the Ice Age woolly rhinoceros, which is of a different branch of the Rhinoceratidae, and much more similar in body design to today's African white rhinoceros, although the two did have some overlap in time. Early modern humans would have come across both in their explorations of the world, and while the woolly would have been clearly identifiable as a rhinoceros, Elasmotherium would have been a more unique creature. From encounters with Elasmotherium, humans would have come up with and told across the lands, told across the generations, legends of a great horse-like beast with a horn on its forehead. And eventually, its true size and classification was lost to both history and memory. As the butterfly in the movie The Last Unicorn says it, a fabulous animal resembling a horse with one horn. Unicorn. Elasmotherium.